Hello, good evening. I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on Evening Edition, state regulators open an investigation into the public cost at the crippled San Onofre nuclear plant. And the controversy over a campaign ad in a tight city council race in San Diego.
I'm Peggy Pico. San Diego employers are being asked to hire more disabled veterans. We'll have details about a local conference aimed at getting jobs for wounded warriors. Plus, we'll talk with the woman who was berated by a national talk show host because of her views on reproductive rights. More on the San Diego rally she's speaking at just ahead.
And you know the saying, it's a dog's life. We'll show you a San Diego spot where the dogs are really living it up. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
California regulators opened an inquiry today into whether customers should pay the $54 million monthly bill to operate the crippled San Onofre nuclear plant in the North County. KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma joins us from the News Center. The decision came at a public hearing in Irvine today. Amitha, what happened?
Well, before regulators launched the inquiry, there were about 90 minutes of public comments. Several representatives from business groups spoke about the need to return San Onofre online to avoid blackouts. As you know, the nuclear plant was shut down after a tiny radioactive leak was discovered inside one of the new steam generators in January. Others pointed out that Southern Californians just got through a scorching summer without using San Onofre. Former California Energy Commissioner John Giesman told regulators the issue went way beyond protecting the public from further costs at San Onofre. He says it's a matter of holding the plant's majority owner, Southern California Edison, accountable for installing defective equipment. He singled out Edison chairman Ted Craver and its president, Ron Leitzinger, saying Craver gets paid $10.8 million annually and Leitzinger earns $2.9 million to avoid the, quote, type of mess San Onofre is currently experiencing.
And what was Edison's response to regulators launching this investigation?
Well, the company issued a written statement in which Leitzinger said, quote, SCE is committed to ensuring the safety and security of critical generation assets such as San Onofre. Reliable baseload generation in Southern California is something we need now and in the future. The company went on to say it will continue to look at its warranties and insurance to recover costs. The plant's annual expenses come to about $650 million.
KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma. Gas prices dropped nearly 5 cents overnight in San Diego. It's the biggest single-day drop this month after prices soared at the beginning of October. The county-wide average is $4.31 a gallon for regular, but there are places where it's below $4. GasBuddy.com says the lowest price is $3.78 at 16th and Market downtown, the highest $4.89 in Coronado. Emergency officials are bracing for potentially dangerous fire conditions across the county. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy tells us strong Santa Ana winds are expected to pick up tonight.
The National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning for the inland and mountain areas of San Diego County. Those warnings are in effect from late tonight through Saturday afternoon. Now that's because strong Santa Ana winds with gusts up to 60 miles per hour are expected in those regions. Humidity levels are expected to drop to the single digits. Now along the coast we could have gusts up to 30 miles per hour. CAL FIRE officials say they're mostly concerned with the inland areas of the county, including the Cleveland National Forest, Campo, and Palomar. Now, those are areas where critically dry vegetation fuels are especially prone to rapid fire growth. Once these winds start, officials are asking residents to be on the lookout for downed power lines and broken tree limbs. An SDG&E spokesperson told me they will be closely monitoring the situation with their 144 weather stations. These stations provide real-time data of wind speeds, wind directions, and humidity levels. They're also planning to pre-stage crews in high-risk areas for the duration of the red flag warning. Now, fire officials say residents should also be on the lookout for fires, and they should be prepared. Now, you can do this by having your evacuation plan ready to go, as well as your emergency kit.
KPBS reporter Susan Murphy. Of course, we will also be closely monitoring the situation online at kpbs.org. San Diego's Democratic Party wants the district attorney to investigate a campaign ad supporting city council candidate Ray Ellis. He's in a tight race against incumbent Sherry Leitner in District 1, the only contested seat on the council. The ad was produced by a local super PAC. The Democratic Party says it violates campaign laws because it shares video with an earlier ad produced by the Ellis campaign. Super PACs are not allowed to coordinate with candidates.
It is illegal for a candidate and an independent expenditure committee to coordinate in any way. That's why they're called independent committees.
Jess Durfee has also filed complaints with the San Diego Ethics Commission and the state. The Ellis campaign says the complaint is a desperate attack to distract voters. A lawsuit's been filed in Sacramento over an $11 million political donation. An Arizona group gave the money to a California super PAC campaigning against Governor Jerry Brown's tax initiative. The Fair Political Practices Commission wants an audit of the donor to see if it violated campaign finance laws. There's a new survey. It finds Californians are more divided over the governor's tax plan and more opposed to a competing measure. The poll found 48% of those surveyed would vote yes on Prop 30, but 44% said no. It's a much narrower margin than in September. Prop 30 would raise money for schools by increasing the state sales tax for 4 years and raising income taxes for wealthy Californians for 7. The competing measure would also raise money for schools, but Proposition 38 faces more opposition, 53% saying they'd vote no. Last month, voters were evenly divided. Prop 38 would raise taxes for all but the poorest Californians on a sliding scale for 12 years. First Lady Michelle Obama is scheduled to attend a fundraiser in La Jolla tomorrow. The event is being held at the home of Qualcomm founder and KPBS supporter Irwin Jacobs. Reproductive health care has become a major issue in this election. Sandra Fluke became a standard bearer for the issue when she was not allowed to testify at a congressional hearing on contraception. She's in San Diego tonight and spoke earlier with Peggy Pico about her experience.
Early this year, the Georgetown University law student was shut out by the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, chaired by San Diego's Darrell Issa. She was called a prostitute by talk show host Rush Limbaugh for wanting insurance companies to cover contraception. Now, after speaking at the Democratic National Convention, she has been touring the country speaking about reproductive rights and voting. Sandra Fluke, welcome to Evening Edition.
Thank you.
You've been touring the country as a speaker for Planned Parenthood, in part because you think of the voting, it's voting right now, and the importance of how that is to reproductive rights. You say they're in danger. What kind of danger do you think they're in?
Well, I think we've seen an unprecedented number of attacks, bills in the House of Representatives, specifically over the last 2 years, that have targeted limiting women's access to the health care that they need. And I think it's really important that folks understand that that's not just about abortion. Of course, our right to safe and legal abortions is under attack, but we've seen bills to defund Planned Parenthood. And what that really means is taking away access to breast cancer screenings and cervical cancer screenings and things like contraception. So we're seeing this across the board on women's health. It's not even just about abortion.
In the news recently, along with this, we've heard Congressman Todd Aiken's remarks where he's talked about legitimate rape. Those are his words. And U.S. Senate candidate Richard Murdoch recently said that pregnancy by rape is, quote, again, intended by God. Do you think that these statements actually have any effects on voters?
Well, what I focus more on is not the statement, but the policy behind it. I think that those statements reveal how these elected officials and these officials running for Congress would legislate on women's health. You know, we saw in the last 2 years a bill to make distinctions between which survivors of rape were, quote unquote, legitimate enough to deserve access to the abortion care that they may need. And 80% of the American public believes that someone who's experienced a rape should have a choice about whether or not to carry that pregnancy to term. So that kind of a bill is very out of step with the American public, and it's really shocking to realize that Representative Ryan co-sponsored it, and that Mr. Bilbray here in San Diego and Mr. Issa also voted for it.
What about the Republican Party in general? Do they have a single message that you've heard, even though 80%, as you said in the U.S., support the right to abortion after a rape?
Right.
Do you think the Republican Party has a different message in general? Are these just renegades on the side?
Well, what I think has happened is, unfortunately, some very extreme voices have been able to seize leadership in the Republican Party, and some of the more moderate voices are really kowtowing to them right now. And so that's why I think this November is a very important election for us all to send a message that this type of extreme rhetoric about women's health and these extreme bills attacking women's health are not what the public is looking for from any political party.
Let's talk about the public. What has your observation been of the attitudes on, let's say, college-age women's or campuses towards women's issues, toward reproductive rights? Is it a case where they're like, they've had it, these are people who have never had to struggle for it, so they don't think about it much, or is it something different?
I've heard from women of all ages over the last 9 months that what they're seeing this year and what we're learning about has been happening in our legislatures is really shocking. And many of us are becoming more aware and are waking up, and that includes men as well. I hear from a lot of men. So young women also are really surprised that things like affordable access to contraception are up for debate, and that we are actually seeing bills that would criminalize some forms of contraception. So they're surprised and they're concerned, and they're getting active and they're getting out the vote, which is the most important thing.
Take us back to February of this year when you were refused, you were going to testify at the committee and you were refused. What were you going to say, and did they give you an explanation as to why you weren't allowed to testify?
Yes, so as you mentioned, that was Mr. Issa's committee, and the reason that he gave for me not testifying was that my testimony was not appropriate. And as a result, it meant that that committee didn't hear from any women on the first panel, and they heard from no one whatsoever who testified about how the Affordable Care Act's contraception insurance coverage policy would impact women. And that's really what any of our elected officials should be thinking about, is how are citizens going to be impacted by the policy that's under consideration.
And that's something you'll be speaking about tomorrow at the rally. We'll have more information on that. We are out of time. Sandra Fluke, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
The Planned Parenthood Action Fund rally will be at noon Friday in Balboa Park. In the 10 months since Doug Manchester bought the UT San Diego, he's launched a new TV channel and bought the only other daily paper in town, the North County Times. The organization's CEO, John Lynch, wants to return the UT to the days when it led on key issues facing the public. Despite assertions from reporters, Lynch denies influencing the content and angle of stories. KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma spoke with Lynch recently about why he and Manchester are so determined to get a stadium built at the waterfront.
About 20 years ago, after the first tower of the Hyatt was built, pointed out to the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal and said that's where the next development needs to be, that where we have to really shape the waterfront of San Diego. And certainly what he did, there wouldn't be a convention center, there would not be the hotels down in San Diego, and really the entire convention center business would never have happened if he not stuck it out and led the city. And so he believes that there is a better use for 10th Avenue Marine Terminal than it currently is being utilized.
The UT San Diego's editorial page was always viewed as conservative under the Copley family. Media analysts say the paper is now returning to the days of single-minded promotion of the Republican Party in a way that is more vitriolic and removed from fact-based commentary. They point to a recent editorial that painted what life would be like if President Obama were elected to a second term, and to editorials that talked about who the worst presidents were and who the best presidents were. How is all of this playing with readers?
Well, we believe that we have core values, and it's our right as the owners of the Union Tribune to express those, not only our right, our duty. And we believe in pro-family, pro-military, and pro-conservative business values. We believe those are the things that have always fired the engines of development in San Diego and in the entire country. When people leave, you've got to be loud and boisterous and to try to attract them back. It's not an easy thing what we're doing.
People tell me you're more hands-on than your predecessors about story ideas and angles. Have you ever edited stories after they were finished?
I wouldn't know how to do that. Absolutely not. And I challenge anybody to point out what story I've ever been involved with. Jeff Light, who is our editor, has absolute total control in terms of what the newsroom very proudly puts out. And as opposed to, I mean, I find it so ironic that the New York Times has said that we're trying to kind of tilt the news one way or the other, when if you look at the New York Times, every aspect of their newspaper looks like it's a talking point for the Obama campaign. We make no apologies for what we do on the editorial page. It is, we're very actively involved, and as I said, Papa Doug Manchester and I have views that are very consistent, and we communicate regularly, and we try to reflect those views of what's important to us and what we think is best for the community.
So you've never taken a story, made additional calls, and then inserted information into
Never.
the story? Mr. Manchester bought the UT about 10 months ago. He recently bought the North County Times. This is all at a time when the newspaper industry is shrinking. What's the goal here? What's your business model?
Yeah, our business model is very simple. We believe that you buy low and sell high. And we believe that there's a great opportunity if you have a multi-level platform of putting the television station right into the middle of the newsroom. And don't ask news writers to do 2 or 3 columns a week, but you ask them to provide content to digital, to mobile, to television. And, you know, the people in the newsroom had great trepidations when we put the television station in there, and you know, about going on the air, and if they didn't meet the ideal television profile. But what we found is now, as opposed to the Fox or the CNN 30-second, 90-second report, we're bringing on our news writers, our content providers as experts, and they thrive. And I believe this is journalism at its best, and ultimately you'll see one of the UTTVs in every major market in the country.
Mr. Lynch, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
I'm Gwen Eiffel on the next News Hour. President Obama and Mitt Romney stump in the crucial state of Ohio. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
Early next week, the Navy will host a conference in San Diego to help more wounded veterans get jobs. Peggy Pico finds out the barriers they face and how local employers can help.
The theme of this year's Wounded Warrior Conference is hiring our nation's heroes. And though many business owners say they support hiring the military, the Navy is asking more employers to hire wounded and disabled veterans. Joining me is Navy Commander George Byrd. He's the Wounded Warrior Program Manager for SPAWAR, and Crystal May Pelham, a Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq. Welcome.
Thank you.
Crystal, tell us, you were a heavy diesel mechanic for more than 3 years in Iraq. How were you injured, and tell us about your injuries?
It was a vehicle accident that I had when I was over there. I ended up falling 9.5 feet, and I destroyed my knee. I ripped everything. It was such a severe injury that, you know, I was in the hospital for several days, and, you know, they had to brace me up. It was a horrible accident.
You thought at one point you may not be able to walk, and you've had lots of surgeries.
I ended up with 5 surgeries to be able to walk again.
But you saved your leg and you are able to walk.
Yes, ma'am. I was not going to give up. I wanted to continue and work as hard as I possibly can to do as much success with walking again as I could.
And you are. And Commander Byrd, is Crystal's story typical of the kind of injuries that we're seeing from wounded veterans? Is she the typical age of somebody coming back from Iraq?
She is the typical age. The primary age of the population here in San Diego is 22 to 28. Most of them are males, but there are females as well. And most of them are missing a limb, majority legs.
How many wounded veterans are actually seeking employment, let's say, on a monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, it's double the current unemployment rate. So the current unemployment rate is 7.8 to 8%, double that for veterans here in San Diego.
So numbers, I think you mentioned we're 300 or so every month?
We're losing 300 to 500 out of the military every month as far as wounded warriors and disabled veterans. And so probably anywhere from 25% of those folks are right here in San Diego. We have the largest population in the country.
Crystal, what has your experience been? You went through the surgery, you were able to walk. When you tried to find a job, what was that like for you?
For me, it was almost impossible. I went from job fair to job fair. You know, I asked questions, and all I got was, "I'm sorry, we couldn't help you." You know, you can only attend so many job fairs before you just want to give up.
Why weren't they helping you? Was it because you were injured? Was it because you were looking for a different type of job?
I didn't have the physical ability to do most jobs. When you have, you know, a leg cast and you're not able to do certain mobilities, they kind of see you as a hazard.
Commander Byrd, is that a major roadblock? I mean, what is the major roadblock for hiring wounded warriors?
That's a very common stigma. I mean, most employers think that just because a person doesn't have a leg or missing the limb, or maybe they're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury, that they can't function and do the job, which is completely false.
False because there are programs out there, because these men and women know how to counter their PTSD?
Right, they know how to counter their PTSD, and I think a lot of it is education on the part of the employers in the civilian side as well as the government side of the house to help them understand what they can do if a person is suffering from PTSD or TBI and managing that person as an employee.
And what about the physical disabilities? You don't necessarily need weight-bearing legs to do certain jobs.
That's correct, and I think a lot of employers look at that as a possibility that person can't move around as easily as they need to, or they can't get from their desk to the next place, which is completely false as well. There are opportunities for employers to make maybe physical changes to their company or mold a job that fits that person, and then they have to be open-minded to that.
Okay. And Crystal, what would you tell wounded warriors? What is the one thing they should focus on when trying to come back and get a job?
Know that there is opportunities, and that whatever you do find, take that opportunity and run with it. It's there because you've done your job, you've served your country, so you deserve what comes to you.
Any advice on trying to get new skills or going back to school?
You should always look at your options and find what you love. Just because you're wounded doesn't mean you can't do the job that you love in life.
And that's part of what this conference is, right? Commander Byrd, tell us about it. Who's going to be there? Are there going to be job recruiters, and what are you doing there?
There's an entire career fair that's happening on the backside of the conference, basically, starting at 10 o'clock each day. While there are workshops going on for the employers and wounded warriors and veterans, there's an entire career fair with employers who are actually doing interviews on site and hiring folks as well.
And some resume, I understand, resume preparation. And
there's some resume preparation. A lot of that happened earlier last week at Camp Pendleton, as well as at Balboa. Folks that I network with went in to help wounded warriors and veterans work on their resumes.
All right. Commander George Byrd and veteran Crystal May Pelham, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
To learn more about the Wounded Warrior Hiring Conference, go to our website, kpbs.org. As we told you earlier in this newscast, there's a red flag warning out for San Diego, and strong gusty Santa Ana winds are expected tonight. Here's a look at the forecast. World Series Game 2 underway right now in San Francisco. Giants are hoping for another win against the Detroit Tigers after last night's 8-3 victory. It's the bottom of the sixth and scoreless. It's estimated we spend about $41 billion a year on our pets in the U.S. From vet visits to food and shelter, the cost can really add up. In fact, some dogs are treated just as well as their owners, and that brings us to a new upscale facility now open in Mission Valley. These dogs are in one of 3 play areas designed to look like a backyard with real grass included. They're separated by size, temperament, and energy levels, but this isn't your typical shelter or daycare. It's the 7th Pooch Hotel opened in the country this past year and a half by San Diego-based Petco.
Is she not good with other dogs?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. Then we could definitely accommodate her.
Like any fancy hotel, it includes 72 suites.
We have 6 palace, 6 presidential, and then the balance being our standard suites.
Even the lobby is designed to show clients what's offered here when you walk in the front door.
This is our palace suite. This is $100 per night, luxury human bedding, 40-inch widescreen TV showing dog TV.
And they actually sit up and watch it. Boarding services range from $100 a day to $75 for the presidential suite, $50 a day for a standard room with no frills but plenty of room to stretch out.
We have webcams in all of our play areas, so you can watch your dog play just as we're watching them now.
Charles Simpson, Director of Operations for the Pooch Hotel, says it's a $4.1 billion industry and expected to grow 5 to 6% a year.
That is so neat.
It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
There are approximately 260,000 dog owners in San Diego, and luxury boarding services account for 15% of the industry sales. Justin Cyril is one of them who also manages the hotel with help from MoMA, his 1-year-old mutt.
They took the idea of a basic kennel and then made it for humans almost. A lot of people ask if they can stay here when I give tours.
The Pooch Hotel just opened 2 weeks ago and already has 25 reservations for Thanksgiving weekend. The Pooch Hotel grand opening is November 3rd. Tonight's stories are on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.